Lana me ba la da me nam je den ba san je chen de. Be je wa sha ja do ba la cha zen no je do je zo chi. Den ba jim den den di jin she ba da zhen ba ya da ba zo be san. Ri ba da sha zo den ba de wa re she ba ji den jen ba ji ba de. Ka lo ji ba la na me ba la da me nam je den ba san je chen den. Be je wa sha ja do ba la cha zen no je do je zo chi. 康在概念中，我觉得么在三线电脑工作，那年几天电脑做些中，在这开发就么子啊子，南大工啊就都书上话一些叫做设计么，查办几天送到那面把工作全年就么子啊子，前阵的嘛前面大概是3段找我就么子啊子，对这些的是不是么些年面渐渐就么子啊子。 我们突击切点吧，他们这前边都么，说那么有点叫做人的形象啊，啥，他们这些这个，因为俺说的这些制度的那么讲究，新旧叫嘛啥，咱们这来这个那样，哪怕他哪让的呢，性格他把有的，眼睛那样啥，咱们对吧？这样没啥，俺话比如说说吧些，让给什么，天天上街点嘛也干嘛这别嘛的。 Jumaseva, Chuburda, Melonda, Tinda, Decision, the Sonam de, Tamje Siba, Kobaton, the Jinja, Gada, Shivanda, Siva Solendo, and Jovarisho to the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the Bodhisattva, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world. Supreme guide of individuality, teacher of gods and humans, to you completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the secure from the Shakya, I prostrate and make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, no other Lord. Supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, blessed one, glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, Mongolian, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, know of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When O supreme among humans you were born this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. Pure bodies form supremely pure, wisdom motion like golden mountain. Then the blazes in the 3 worlds, win of the best, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like spotless moon, call like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds and up, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you, the one God, the dustness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment. The virtue which frees one from the lower realms. The one path, the sublime pure reality. To the Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated also show the path to liberation. The holy field qualified with realizations. Who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime community intending virtue and prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions,
perform imperfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind to the whole. This is the teaching of the Buddha. Star, mirage, flame of Buddha, an illusion, a drop or two, a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain rank of all see, subdue the all faults, and be delivered from motion of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Jano Zoje Jono no Chaju Bado Dane Japsu Che Dage Jeso Jibe Sono Jola Benje Sanje Jobo Sho Sanje Jano Zoje Jono Chaju Bado Dane Japsu Che Dage Jeso Jibe Sono Jola Benje Sanje Jobo Sho Sanje Jono Zoje Jono Chaju Bado Dane Japsu Che Dage Jeso Jibe Sono Jola Benje Sanje Jobo Sho Sanje Jono Zoje Jono Chaju Bado Dane Japsu Che Dage Jeso Jibe Sono Rola Penche, Sanjan Drogoreshu.
Go for refuge in time, through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections. May I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Lama, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Lama, and the Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly obtain the state of Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Kumje Jimala Chazo, Deda Sanje Jimde, the Shenship Montajum, Yanda, Sanje Ribbon, Shadow, the Decoration. Jiden Jimba Jibon, the Bakano, Jimala, Hada, Melo, the Sanje Jimde, the Eso. The Shenship and the Sonam that we do them, Gavezawan, and Chubis, and Severa, Sonam Jeter, and Jishi. Bejas and Bonam Jeter, Senam Jimado Jibba, Jurema, Tonam, Medim, the Bemba, Nobraga. Share a city with them, Tonam and Zebba, Simjatam Jeja, Tamba, Chaju Sebanam Jab, Habe Kazanam Jevo, and Yanene, the Bertonjedo, the Tebe, the Jepadom, Pova Sanjim, Sonambrata, Yanim, Kujet, Shomish, Kutsumam, the Bata, Sudagenia Mago, Sume Bata, whatever Dungan, Kubutan, and the Common, the Kijan, the Vana Machine, the Java, Yozo, don't want the number to Yozo don't want the number to Sibala to Chu, like Yishi Yozo, the Majumba, the Sanje Jimene, Yishela, never, Yangela, the Yana, Vanjatana, the Simjatam Genesis, the Sana Shuba. The Dania Sanje Jimene, Yokushi, and the Yana, Tabation, the Tomangi, Padoki, Tamangi. Tensan was in the woman, the Yozo, 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 Chava, then Tuchava, when you want to. The Toma, then you were Kavan, Sozoranga, Jimlen, and was to return the one and the bottom of your virtue, so much I do not know. Miduma mentioned the water, the Matemba, you were your watch about water, watch you begin, and what you were to worship, too much of a residue. Charge of a residue was on your vegetation, and you also want your mention, no one, Jimenez, or you. Kangi and General, the one member, Chava member, Tom member, one member, Tade, Driven, Zobes and your man yet about them, Charles. So today I'm going to read the second ground through the stanzas, Chandrakirti stanzas. So this has one page. The second ground, the stainless. So the first ground is a perfect joy. The second ground is called stainless. So in the stanza it says, he is endowed with a perfect morality and purity. Even in a dream, he shunned the stain of immorality, since all movement of his body, speech, and mind are pure, he accumulates the excellent virtue of all 10 course of actions. So this is talking about the not just morality, the perfect morality and the pure, right? So there's the three things together. So it's a complete morality, and perfect, and morality, and the purity. So perfect because of the this is the kind of the substantial cause for the enlightened being. So therefore, it's perfect. And morality is because of the the kind of prevention of immoral actions. So it's morality. And the purity means it's not just kind of holding the morality or the following, practicing the morality kind of out of faith or some kind of obligation or some out of fear practicing morality. It's rather it is a purity because this second ground has the direct wisdom realizing emptiness, which is the kind of overcoming all the cosmic condition which give rise the immorality actions, body, speech, mind, right? So I think bodhicitta and morality itself and the wisdom realizing emptiness. So that's what perfect, right? Pure morality. So bodhicitta, morality, and wisdom realizing emptiness. So that's why the second ground has this kind of quality. Even in a dream, there is no stain of immorality. So ordinary the practitioners, they they practice the morality, they follow the morality, but if the morality is not sustained by the bodhicitta, and this cannot be perfection of the morality. Morality, the ordinary person who practice the morality, if the morality itself is lacking the wisdom realizing emptiness, then it cannot be pure. So, and then stanza number 2, it's saying the not only this path of virtue, but in the all 10 deeds. 10 deeds, the body, speech, and mind. From the body, 3, right? Killing and stealing and sexual misconduct. So, and then from the speech, lying, or the divisive speech, and harsh word, and then kill is the kind of gossiping, senseless gossiping, right? 4 from the speech, and from the mind, napsim is the kind of craving, the strong attachment, and nersim is harmful thought, and then the wrong view. So these are the causes which give rise immorality. So not only the path of the, but all in all 10 deeds, he becomes the most excellent and pure. Just as the radiant autumn moon adorned with night sky, the morality adorns him with the peace and radiance. So this person, the second ground, not only his mind is, his mind is like autumn moon's radiance of the autumn moon. Not only that, even the physical, he shines through, right? So this person, because of this, the inner quality of the perfection of the morality, should he, though pure, see, how's that? Pure, should he? Number 3. Should he, through pure, see in terms of intrinsic nature? See in terms of intrinsic nature, his morality will remain impure because of this. So once the morality is not sustained by the wisdom realizing emptiness, so it's kind of like it cannot be pure, but it's just kind of sometimes in sutra this is sutra and the Bodhisattva sutra, monks whose morality is monks are the layperson who's taking the vows. The vows is as an obligation or it is a burden. And so because this clearly shows the lacking of the wisdom which can prevent the negative emotions, right? If you do not have the antidote for the aversion and attachment, then your morality become obligations or kind of burden, right? Something that binds you, you want to do, but the morality is holding you back, right? So there are a little bit of forsations. So if that the morality is sustained by the wisdom, then it is like so stretchable the exercise custom. So how much you can custom. So should he, through though pure and seen in terms of intrinsic nature, his morality will remain impure because of this. Thus, with respect to all 3 elements of the discipline, body, speech, and mind, he always remained free of the flow of dualistic thought. So, so here the dualistic thought is seeing subject and object is the intrinsically separate. Subject and object intrinsically separate is the dualistic thought. So then then another benefit from the morality is wealth through generosity is found even in the lower realms. Then says the result of the generosity, of the positive result of generosity, even you can find in the lower realm, like animals, the nagas, right? some animal has very expensive, precious task, right? And there's jewels, right? So there's the wealth even found in the lower realm. This caused when one has fractured the lack of the moralities. So this is the result of the violation of the morality. So therefore, result of generosity, the individual happen to experience in the lower realm. If this generosity is associated with morality, and he can enjoy the result of the generosity in the higher realm, human being or the God realm. So when, so then again it says when interest and the capital itself, the saving and taking account, right? So are both exhaust, no prospect of remain for one of any further wealth. So if morality is not there, you may end up in kind of, and kind of total exhaustion from this, even the seed of the generosity. Which means if you continuously born in lower realm, you may not be able to practice the generosity. So then this is like, when the interest and the capital itself are both exhaust. So this is the result of the lack of morality. Lack of morality. If when free and living in favorable conditions, free and means around jujas. Like when you're born in human being, there's certain freedom, right? Freedom to express, to do things, to earn, to gain, to become, right? So there's certain freedom in human being, human realm. So favorable conditions, wherever you want, and you can, when do not retain this stage of enjoy. So if you so when you are free, you have you experience the freedom of human being, and you live in favorable conditions. If you do not practice the morality, so then says, so we will fall into abyss, and be at the mercy of others. What could enable us to rise up again from such states? So which means, so even the result of the generosity, to be able to enjoy in a higher rebirth, you have to practice the moralities. Without the practicing the morality, so you cannot enjoy the result of the generosity. So therefore, having engaged in the discourse on generosity, the Buddha proceeded to the discourse of morality. So this is why, right subsequently, after the generosity, Buddha teaches the morality, right? So when qualities spring up in the field of morality, enjoyment of their fruit will become the continuous. So you can, so I think it's like the continuously enjoying continuously enjoying the result of the generosity, right? Continuous enjoying, practicing generosity, and in the experiencing the result of generosity. So it's only possible when you practice the morality. So continuous. Ordinary beings and the speech-born Sharvakas, like Sharvaka, Pratika Buddha, those who are established for self-enlightenment as a Pratika Buddha, and the children of the conqueror, the Bodhisattvas, as to their definite goodness and birth in higher realms, the cause is none other than the moralities. So even the Pratika Buddha, like higher rebirth and the definite goodness. So these are all kind of possible through the practice of the moralities. With no morality, no higher realm, no liberation and no enlightenment. Just as the ocean and our crops, right, do not remain together, and just as good fortune and calamity do not keep company. Likewise, the great ones who are governed by the morality do not wish for company of immorality. So I think to practice the morality is to overcome the cause which give rise to immorality. So the morality means generating bodhicitta, generating compassion, and generating wisdom, realizing emptiness, is the to sustain the moralities, to purify the morality, to keep it continuously enjoy the result of this generosity and patience and all this. Who relinquished, relinquishes what and in relation to whom, when any of these three is objectified, such morality is described as a mundane perfections, free of attachment to these three is supermundane. So in Sutra, many times, in the Vinaya Sutra, many times it says, without kind of the morality which lacking the wisdom to understand the reality as it is like this morality is like a pretending morality. It's not really kind of sustainable kind of practice. It's just pretending, or it's just out of fear you following up the. So number 9, at this point, the first cause of full awakening, perfection of the generosity, will. Number 9, number 10, yeah. This Bodhisattva was born of the radiant moon of morality, who is not of second existence, yet is the glory. So these kind of Bodhisattvas, the first ground of the Bodhisattva, the second ground of the Bodhisattva, third ground, they continuously born in samsara. So these are not samsaric being, these are the glory of the samsara. Right? So who voluntarily, right, kind of again and again, they're born in samsara, voluntarily, not involuntarily born in samsara. So it is the glory of the samsara, not the second existence. They are not samsaric being. So this is, like the lotus they're born in the mud, so which has never really contaminated by the second existence glory. The stainless who like moonlight on an autumn night, remove the pain from the mind of the sentient beings. So this first ground, the second ground is saying, so this is how these are the refuge object, a sangha, the ultimate sangha that you can rely on, you can, the worship to those great beings, because these are the reliable and sustainable, and this yeah, sometimes the children of conquer. This is going to be this whole heading towards the Buddhahood, and their body, speech, mind, and more pure and perfect, and sustained by the kind of complete morality. The Sangha, so the ultimate Sangha. So Buddha, Dharma, and the Sanghas. So Buddha is the great enlightened being. And Dharma is the perfect view that realizes the reality as it is. And the Sangha, who who has perfect their mind through the wisdom realizing emptiness and the bodhicitta. Yeah. So, any questions from the first ground? Do you have anything to discuss on the first ground?
On the first ground?
Yeah. Anything you want to discuss that you want to do the question and answer about? So I think similar here, and the first ground, generosity and perfection of the generosity, and the super mundane, the perfection of the super mundane generosities, right? Generosity in general, and perfection of generosity, and then kind of perfection of the super mundane's generosity, right? Super mundane's. So generosity is just normal, kind of generally like kind of practice of giving, right? Anything that you let kind of you give away to other people, although that's motivated by some kind of expectations, that these are still count as a generosity, right? Practice of giving. And perfection with generosity means now this things that you're giving away is due to kind of the bodhicitta and compassion, out of compassion, bodhicitta, right? And the super mundanes now means so this not only motivated by the compassion of bodhicitta, is sustained by the wisdom realizing emptiness, the super mundanes. So in similar, you can use morality is like that. So here talking about perfect morality, and it is pure, right? Pure and perfect morality. So the perfect because of this is the conditions which is going to give rise to the omniscient or enlightened being. So therefore, it's a perfect kind of perfection of the morality. And then morality means now in the Sanskrit the shila, right? Kind of shil is the kind of coolness, cool, kind of cool. Something that cools your down, or something that cools your mind down, right? And from the fire of the kind of, afflictive emotions, anger, attachment, jealousy. So to cool your mind down from those afflictive emotions. Right? So this also not only in the mental state, even in the physical kind of body, speech, and mind. So here I think is a practice of the morality in the Buddhists is by training the mind, the state of mind, and then by training the mind or subduing the mind, and then this will kind of affecting on your body, speech, and minds, right? So the Hinayana practitioners follow the morality. There's some kind of out of fear, so not falling into lower realm, not causing more suffering. So kind of keeping that in mind, and they practice the morality. So Bodhisattvas, the morality is out of compassion, right? So out of compassion, not killing. Out of compassion, not stealings. Out of compassions, and the sexual misconduct. Out of compassions, not lying. Out of compassions. This is all out of compassions. So the Hinayana is kind of like there's some kind of fear. So if I engage in killing, I engage in the act of killing, it may cause me to fall in the lower realm, right? On some people, maybe say, if I do this, I may be, right? I may not be able to stay, right? So I will be shamed, or I will be violating my so I already promised, I'm going to break my promise. So that morality is like in the Vinaya Sutras, it's like pretending and trying, right? Something is you're not pure, but you're trying to pretend as pure. So this is the example is not, so because if you practice the morality through purifying, subduing the mind through the gaining the wisdom, the reality as it is, and training the mind with compassion, bodhicitta. So that will purify your morality. That will perfect your moralities. So I think this is the like present to the Buddhist argument is Buddhists do not commit any negative, non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, and then it says at the end, how subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. By subduing the mind, and then that is the way to not performing negative actions, right? Performing perfect virtuous actions. Anyway, the second ground, the stainless. The second ground, the stainless, this has 5 sections. How morality is completely purified on this ground. The praise of the morality. The analogy for how the Bodhisattvas does not mix with force of obsessing morality, right? Opposing morality. Yeah. The the division of the perfection of the morality, and conclusion stating the qualities of the ground, how morality is complete and purified on this ground. This has 4 parts, showing that morality is perfect on this ground, showing that on this basis, the qualities become completely purified. How morality become the superior compared to the first ground. So other causes that purify the moralities. Showing that morality is perfect on this ground, and the stanza says, he is endowed with perfect morality and purity. Even in the dream, he shunned the stain of immorality. The Bodhisattva was abiding on the second ground because he's endowed with perfect morality as well as the quality of the purity. Not only during his awakening period, but even in his dream, he shunned the stain of immorality. So that is, he remains untouched by it. So this includes not just the immorality of rude infractions and naturally, reprehensible deeds. He also relinquished the stain of immorality of violations, violating the rules based on precepts. So this is kind of, so the wisdom realizing emptiness has the power to not only purify the negative actions, and it says it's the most, the unique quality is the wisdom realizing emptiness. It will continuously bring crack on the samsara, right? So everything, negative deeds can be instantly overcome by the generating wisdom realizing emptiness. So, and then during the second ground, because of the perfections of his wisdom and perfection of the generosities, and so second ground of the Bodhisattvas have the powerful wisdom and powerful kind of method side, the bodhicitta and the compassion. Because he does not inflame the afflictions that give rise to the immorality. That because of the, non-virtuous karma of transgressing, prescribed, right? Mm-hmm. Rules does not occur for him. He has attained the coolness born of having extinguished the fire of the remorse from occurring the downfall of the violating prescribed rules. So this is therefore the called morality. The Sanskrit term for the morality is shila, which is composed of the word shilata, I think it's ta, referring to the coolness, and lati meaning to the attain. Alternatively, it is called morality. Shila literally meaning also correct discipline, because the being the cause of the happiness, it is something that is sought after by the sublime one. There are explanations of the word shila based on its etymologies. So you see,
question. Also from this paragraph, it sounds like, I guess actualizing emptiness is the basis for morality. I mean, is that?
Yeah. So the morality is through the subduing the mind, through the taming the mind, right? Not just forcing, kind of forcing your body, speech, mind not to act, right? It rather is subduing the mind, and then comes the discipline in the body, speech, and mind. So the immoralities kind of here start from the mental state, anger, attachments, and ignorance. These three are the path that kind of kind of letting. I think. So manifestation of those immoral actions of the body, speech through the mind. So the immorality itself, when we think about immorality, chelva means immoral is, kind of action of the karma, negative actions, right? So negative actions, and then negative actions. There is we call a ranshinja kind of natural downfall actions. Natural downfall action means just as negative actions. Like you can see negative actions in the animals and the human beings, right? And then another, the immorality is maybe it's kind of conventionally or is not immorality. How's that? It's not really consider immorality for everybody, but who who took the precept, right? Like cutting the trees, digging holes, right? So these who has one who has took the kind of precept. So I'm not going to, for example, and then the fasting and the precept is this: I'm not going to eat until tomorrow sunrise. So the eating is become immoral because according to the precept, so you have a promise to not to eat until tomorrow sunrise. So it's kind of and generally it's not, eating is not immoral, right? So it becomes immoral after kind of having taking that precept. It's immoral. So
the Lama Tsongkapha, the previous paragraph, when he says this is therefore called morality, and he describes right before that, because there is no affliction, he would not commit anything immoral. That's one. Second one is there's no remorse from anything that happened before. So that's the reason that becomes. That's the reason why it's called morality.
I think here that so here this saying the morality in the second ground is called shila, and shila, if this interpreted or translated into peaceful, cool, so which means that includes even there is no remorse, any regret that he has committed, right? So that included there. So because it's cool and peaceful, so ever kind of at kind of ever peace in this kind of I'm talking about the second ground. So that from the peace or cool, and that includes no regret. Regret is remorse or the regret is the part of kind of, it's kind of the flame of emotional, right? So the second ground, the Bodhisattva, even there is no remorse and regret because it is impossible for him to be engaging in any immoral actions. So he has no remorse and no regret in this. So that, I think that part is coming from the cool, how cool he is, right? So, and now another cool is, yes, this morality may help you to cool the kind of anger, attachment, and then the kind of, negative actions.
Of others or?
Huh?
Of others? Negative action.
So, by practicing the moralities, like practicing kind of taking the precept of not killing, not lying, not stealing, right? So this may help him to cool him down to engaging in any negative actions. So these are just possible, right? So it may help you to cool you down. But so the people who has the practitioner who took the precept and following the morality, but so often in his mind, in state of mind, there's the anger, attachment, right? So there's some kind of the wave of flame that continuously going. So, and if this morality is lacking the wisdom and he has no prevention, no antidote, if the flood is keep kind of, coming up, so you have no dam to stop that, right? But eventually you may kind of, break the rules. Or it may cause some other problems, right? So they're saying immorality is generally a shila. It cools you down from kind of, it cools you down or restrain you from engaging in negative actions. Right? So now when we talk about what is the immoralities, chelva means how's that? Incorrect or mistaken, like those kind of things. So immoral is not necessarily naturally it is the negative action. Immoral does not mean it is negative actions. So we call the ill deeds and downfall actions and the immoral. Ill deeds is negative actions. Whoever, no matter who the person has took the precept or not, so any ill deeds are negative actions. And some of the actions are not ill deeds, but because you took the precept, now this has become the downfall actions. So downfall actions, it may cause you to fall into the lower rung, although it's not the ill deeds, right? So, and then the chelva means now immoral and generally that kind of, something like, misconduct. Misconduct is the immoral. So, like, if you took the precept not to eat until tomorrow sunrise, so is eating is misconduct. So I think here, ill deeds, downfall actions, and then the violation of the precept based on So the wisdom realizing has the power to not only overcoming the ill deeds, it has power to overcome the downfall actions. It has instantly, within this kind of few seconds, by generating wisdom realizing emptiness, it will many of those kind of misconduct, kind of of the violation of the precept. So so you see the 10 virtuous actions, following the 10 virtuous actions out of, out of faith, right? Because you took the how's it, commitment or 10 virtues commitment. Like, I think this is not only in the Buddhists, even in the, how's that, other religion, like Christian, so their practice of the 10 virtues, right? And non-Buddhist school, like, yeah. So they're all faith in God, faith in Bhagavan, right? So he was kind of in there thinking that to please the Bhagavan in order for next life to be closer to him, right? To become closer to him. So with that motivation, you follow the 10 virtues, 10 virtuous actions, and then the sum, like so in order for so there's to attain liberation, right? So in order for attain the liberations, therefore you took the 10 virtuous actions. And Bodhisattvas, the outward compassions, so they took the pledge to fulfill the desire of every sentient beings. With that strong compassions that led the practice of the 10 virtues. So the 10 virtues is the same, but they're different there's a different condition. So understand?
So the different condition is wisdom. Or the precept, the pledge.
The non-Buddhist school, they take the precept, right? Some non-Buddhist practitioners, very serious practitioners, whole life, they took the precept for whole life. So what motivate them to follow this precept is to become closer to the Bhagavan, right? So there is no kind of so there's not much kind of motivation of generating compassion on the wisdom realizing emptiness. Simply wanted to be closer to the Bhagavan. For that reason, they took the precept, right? And some took the precept because of their there's some kind of genuine fear. So I may fall in the lower realm. In order to prevent yourself to falling in the lower realm, and then you took the precept, right? And then, so what do you do by taking the precept, and then what will be the beneficial from it is then says, to be able to continuously born in high rebirth, and then continuously receiving the teachings and the contemplatings, and then they may find the path to liberations. So the Bodhisattvas, the taking precept is out of compassion, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I remember reading Abonka Rinpoche. He did a little bit of the Lamrim, I thought. And in the beginning, it talked about the fear of like the lower realms and like how you don't want to go there. So is that in the beginning stages one of those you have to be afraid of being reborn into the lower realms to see the importance of it, or?
No, right now I'm in the Chandrakirtis, and this, according to this book, Chandrakirti's point of view. So, what motivates you to take that precept? Are you taking the precept out of fear? Are you taking the precept out of simply to be closer to the Bhagavan? Or are you taking the precept because you don't want to bring any harm to other sentient beings? So this, so Bodhisattvas, particularly here, the so second ground morality is called stainless. So stainless because it's the perfect morality and pure, right? And the perfectly pure moralities. So I think, and the Lamrim, they simply talk about these are general kind of, kind of generally when you kind of talk about the morality, how many moralities, and what motivate to took the precept to practice the moralities, right? It's just, but you don't have to from the beginning. You don't have to fear, right? You don't have to take the precept out of fear. So you just because you see the Buddhahood, that's your aim, your goal to. So in order for to reach the state of a great enlightened being, so sentient beings is the most essential to continuously or to succeed in your Mahayana path. The sentient beings is the source. Sentient beings is one of the the field. By depending on the sentient beings, you continuously born in higher rebirth. Continuously, you receive the teachings and finding kind of quicker access to getting the teaching and to be able to practice that. So there's during the fifth Dalai Lama, there was one of the geshe. Is a very funny geshe. He's close to His Holiness, and then one day His Holiness mentioned about it. There's a nunnery, and His Holiness. So I think His Holiness thinking about, oh, this nunnery, nuns are very kind of, genuinely kind of interested in studying meditations. These are good. And then he says, I can prove you. So they are not really genuine practitioners. I think he just went to the nunnery and he kind of started giving a teaching. And then he talks about the suffering in the suffering of what called horseradish. So the suffering burying and within the within the soil, how he's suffering when he come out. So and the people cut the leaves. So you talk about a lot of the suffering of the horseradish. And there's some of the nuns that they cry, oh, how suffering is. Then he said, I prove you that these nuns are not genuine practitioners. I make them cry from the suffering of horseradish. So that, yeah, this is kind of sometimes some people is suitable to talk about the suffering of the hell realms and hungry ghosts, and then a lot of, this animal realms. So people kind of, there's some kind of, they could renounce from the negative actions out of fear, but still they get benefit, right? So the genuine kind of renunciation, genuine morality is not just out of fear, right? The Buddha says, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha, right? Buddha did not say, scare your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. So during the fifth Dalai, there's one of these geishas, there's a lot of story about him. Sometimes he kind of, do some kind of sarcastic to his holiness. So his holiness, when he shows the interest in the Vajrayana practice, and he practicing, received empowerment, and he's kind of a little bit kind of, the Geshe-la kind of thinks that his holiness a little bit overly kind of interested in the Vajrayana. So his holiness has the, what do you call it? Purva. Purva.
The knife, yeah.
Not a knife, it's a kind of, there's a purva.
It's not a prayer bell.
Maybe, yeah. Julie knows. Purva is the. So there's one deity is called Purva, or deities. So there is. Purva means when you put up the tents. So there's.
Oh, the stake.
Stake.
Okay, it's like it's the pointy one.
Yeah, pointy one. Yeah.
Yes.
So the Purva, the deity, has this kind of thing. So his always hold this Purva on his kind of, So I think Geshe-la, so next time when he visited his holiness, he was kind of, so he there's a staff. Yeah. Julie says staff. So, and he kind of, publicly, he kind of very, he was kind of, using the very big one. So,
She said a steak.
Yeah. So and publicly he just go with that and holding this. And he's on this, how are you doing? He said, to be kind of, to prove yourself as so kind of respectful. So I have to have this kind of thing. So he was kind of like sarcastic towards his holiness. So yeah, this Geshe-la's, what's this name? And one day he was, yeah. I mean, his holiness shows interest in this Vajrayana. So then one day he was kind of, wearing the Mahakala mask on his face, and he visited his holiness. So, yeah. Then his holiness, are you crazy? His holiness, these days now, and me and Mahakala has no job to do because no one has interest in the Buddha Dharma. So everybody is excited with some other things. So the Mahagala and we had no job.
I have a picture of it. It's more like a knife, right? It's three-sided.
Yeah,
It's called a dagger too.
dagger, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the dagger. Yeah. So yeah, why I'm saying this?
Talking about the motivation of it.
Yeah. So yeah. So these, I think that you can see in the presence of Bodhisattva Shakyamuni do not commit any non-virtuous action, perform perfect virtuous actions. So at the end it says, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching. So Buddha teaches, right? Buddha teaches how to tame, how to subdue the mind, and through that way you can, abandon all the kind of misconduct, and you can discipline body, speech, the mind. So the subduing the mind is the main thing to practice the morality. So, about the precept, like during the Buddha Shakyamuni, when he was giving teaching, there's a Naga, the king of the Naga. So often comes to the Buddha's teaching. When he comes in to the teaching, and publicly, he always pretend he is the king, and brave and magnificent, and the kind of clothing and very kind of what do you call it, ornaments, and he always stay in the front, and all the people think that he's a very kind of powerful king. So Buddha was continuous giving teaching, and today he comes, the next day he comes, and then another day he comes, and Buddha did not say anything. The last day, the Buddha says, "Show your own body. Don't hide your body." And then everybody look at this person, and he shows he's a big snake, and on the head he has a kind of tree on his head, and they constantly then there's like a small flies that come over his body, flying, and it was kind of stings. So then Buddha says, this Naga, and kind of many lives in the kind of back in many lives, he was great practitioners, and particularly he stays in the mountain for long time retreat, and he took the precept, the monastic precept. So every time when he come out from his cave, there's a small kind of branches from the tree that hits on his head, and then the monks, we have a precept not to cut the tree, right? So he knows that this is the precept, so I'm not allowed to cut that. And so then he gets really kind of angry, frustrations. So and he thought, why this stupid precepts taught by the Buddha? So there's no meaning at all. And he was really kind of emotionally kind of the violating the precept. Although this violation is small, but out of anger, he says, this doesn't make sense anymore, at all. And he cut that branches. So the cutting the branches is not the downfall actions, not the ill deeds, but out of anger and knowing this is the precept, it's the violations, and he kind of, emotionally, he kind of violates the monastic precept. So next, so he born in the Naga, and he has the big tree on his head. So, so these are kind of, the violation of the precept. So it's not kind of, it's not a negative action for everybody, right? So this whole still kind of count as the immorality, immoral actions. So ill deeds, downfall actions. So how's that? The ill deeds is just naturally it's negative, right? Naturally. So you, no matter you took the precept or not, it still counts as negative. And sometimes this is, in Tibetan terms, they use kanamatovas. Kanamatovas is kind of, I don't know. Precepts, rules. So the perfecting the generosity, perfecting the morality, I think this is all kind of, essentially within the practice of the bodhicitta and the wisdom realizing emptiness. Just by practicing bodhicitta and the wisdom realizing emptiness, and you will have a perfection of the generosity, you will have a perfection of the morality and the patience, all the things, right? Because the all kind of the defects and the negative emotions are derived from or arises from the kind of misconceptions and lack of compassion. Yeah, any questions?
So morality would actually be a dependent arising as far as it doesn't exist solidly. Like what you said, when you take the precepts, something can be immoral or otherwise for an ordinary person without the precepts. It's not a transgression.
Yeah. So for the ordinary people, it's not a transgression. So, like, there are small precepts, the violations or the transgressions of the kind of more, the grosser, the precept, like monks, if you like fully ordained monks, whenever they want to eat, so the food that has to be served by other, so without someone offer, you are not allowed to eat. So chinamajikas. And then this is monastic laws. And how about the person who is kind of stays in the retreat in the mountain by himself? And then there's an option. There's a kind of you use the rope and then put the plate in their food in there, and then you push it, and then comes in just oh, thank you. So sometimes it's not really kind of big deal because of the precept. It becomes a big deal, right? So and then the making a fire. So before every morning, the monks there's a kind of we have recall that tradition every kind of reminders. There's the kind of certain line that you have said. When you wake up, you have to say that because the allowance of cooking, making fire, cutting the vegetables. So if you don't say it morning and you go and make fire to cut things, it's also kind of immoral. But generally, it's not immoral, right? So sometimes because of precept, it makes the immoral actions. That's kind of the immoral is not intrinsically exist. Giving water to people is generosity. Giving water to plants is not generosity, right? So,
I think there was a story in Dhammapada where one practitioner was blinded doing walking meditation, but because he's blind, he didn't know there's an ant that he was stepping on. But the Buddha said, there's no fault in there.
Yeah, he couldn't see. He has no kind of basis. There's no condition for him to follow that. In the monks, when monks are not allowed to eat at night. So during the Buddha, one monk is the exception. So he has his name is Gelon Palanda, kind of it's like a cow person. His nickname is cow person. So he has the two stomachs like a cow. So every night he just kind of regurgitate and then kind of chew on that. So for him, it's exceptional. So something that's kind of the morality is also follow the condition, right? Like throwing the trash and the dirty waters in the green land is the person who took the precept is the immoral conduct. Sometimes morality is I think Ayadeva's text there's a story about I think the 4 or 5 Brahmins, they were traveling at night, so they have to stay in a family. There's one family, so they asked, "Please let us stay tonight." And then the family they let them stay, and they offer food, and kind of in the night, they kind of they go out for poop. so they poop around that house. In the morning, the houseman, right? The houseman says, "So you Brahmins, we kind of let you stay, and we offer the food, and you make all this house around. So you have to go and clean it up, right?" And then the Brahmins, every 4 or 5 Brahmins, they go out and they try to find which one's my poop. So I want to clean out my poop. So my poop is more clean than other poops. So this houseman, so he laughed. He says he kind of spread this kind of kind of story to everybody. So the Brahmins are so attached, even their poops. They think their own poop is clean than other. So it seems like so even some kind of moralities, you just kind of out of kind of kind of selfish interest, you do the morality. You follow the discipline, and then sometimes out of compassion, out of fear. So here's the pure means something, the morality that's sustained by the wisdom that prevents negative emotions, afflictive emotions. If this morality is sustained by the wisdom, and then this morality is pure. Other than that, so morality is not necessarily to be pure. Yeah, and also sometimes the monks, when they go out for alms. So there's a story during the Buddha. So the businessman, very rich man, and he serves the food very delicious. So every monk goes to that family. So everybody goes there and asks food. And one day he broke, he was serving to the monk. Then the Buddha kind of set the disciplines. You cannot go to the one family, everybody at the same time. So so now if you go continuously to one family, so that's the kind of violation of the monastic precept. So that's become the immoral. Right? It's something that is kind of harmful to oneself and other. So that considered is immoral. Right? Something that is harmful. Right? Any action that may brings harmful kind of result in oneself and others. So morality in Sanskrit, shila, something that cools, something that benefits you, something that keep you from negative, is the purpose of the morality. So sometimes from your side is the positive things, but it can be harmful to others. So like Buddha Palitas, the quality Dharma contains two quality, harmony and no afflictions. Right? So something that shouldn't be harmful to oneself, to the others. And that Dharma, by following it should have some kind of potential, or it should have some kind of quality to reduce or overcome the afflictive emotions.
Yeah, so this kind of immoral means, yeah, in the monastic, nun and the monk. So I think the nun, the fully monastic audience is 360 or something. The nun has more kind of rules. So these are all not just kind of to look down on the female. It's not about kind of to make it inferior. So something that you're keeping is security of the females. So Buddha says the female, the one single, cannot travel. So if you travel by single, it's kind of a violation of the monastic precept. And then if the nuns, if they like they build or they found the nunnery or kind of set of group that's too far from the monastic, like maybe 20 miles or 100 miles, and then that is also the immoral. So it's kind of keeping them safety for the and then sometimes just because of the public, some become morally immoral. So publicly, kind of from the public, keeping in the public's kind of what called societies, society, the perception of the society or perspective of the society. So then, even the nun who has took the vows, become the took the precept, maybe 20 years, right? And she's much older. When a new monk comes, she has to show respect. So this rules is because of the kind of regarding the public perspective. So that's kind of so sometimes the moral and immoral is big just because something that you are keeping everybody not to harm, not to bring harmony. So their culture and traditions and societies. So considering keeping all this kind of keep in mind, and then you have to set rules. Yeah, any questions? Yeah. Shila Paramita, they go Shila Paramita. Shila Paramita. Generosity, Dhana Paramita, Shila Paramita.
Would morality basically really begins in the mind, like focusing on your mind?
Morality is to bring harmony, to not to bring any harm to their culture and their mind. So, and then also kind of something that is not really become the condition to trigger your negative emotions. So that is the purpose of the morality. Right. Any action that triggers your negative emotional, any action that you've done, it may become harmful to others. Right. So that's how the morality comes. So Bodhisattva's Bodhisattva's vows is one of that is if For example, just kind of if you're just thinking about if you are making a distinction, Hinayana and Mahayana, it is not the immoral in the Bodhisattvas. If you pointing someone, or you are Hinayana, so that is the violation of the Bodhisattva as well. Right? So you can talk about Hinayana Mahayana, but you cannot point someone, he is Hinayana. Oh, Julie has questions. It seems like morality can be practiced without realizing emptiness. So it is just not sustained without wisdom realizing emptiness. Not just not us. Yeah, so morality is, in generally, morality is kind of, positive behave or considerably as a positive actions. So now this morality is sustained or kind of associated with wisdom realizing emptiness, or it is the it's out of compassion, or it is just faith in the liberation, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, or it's this kind of considerable morality is motivated by faith in the Bhagavan. So, or you just, because you have respect to the community, so you don't want to lose the respect to community, but you took the precept from it, right? So the morality is just, it is the considered to be a positive behave. So the become the positive behave is due to different reasons. So the Buddha's teaching, the morality is, so purpose of the morality is to not to, purpose of the morality is to prevent, to restrain negative actions from you, and not to bring any harm to others. The purpose, and the morality is kind of maybe you can say sustain, right, by anything. So renunciation, compassion, and the wisdom realizing emptiness. Sometime in old time, now in India, it's, I think in many years, and people, when they greet, so they say, have you ate? Have you had a breakfast? So that's the greeting. So now they don't consider this is good. So because, yeah, so at all time, this is the greeting, is the morality. Now when you say have you ate, so people may get a little bit uncomfortable. So do you think I have nothing to eat? Right? So it's just kind of, it's a temporarily changing. Even the, yeah. Some people may be happy if someone every day they ask, have you ate? Have you ate? Oh, this person is very nice. He is very good. Every day he meets, he see me, he asks me, have you ate? Yeah, I think Tsul Tim, Tsul is the kind of, the behave or actions. Tim means the discipline action, right? And then when you go with Shila, means the action that really cools down your mind, means action that helps you to kind of reduce the negative emotions, right? So that's kind of the Shila.
I think in the chapter 2, it said that morality was superior to the first ground. Is that because it's built on the first ground? I mean, is it not? Is it comparing the two as separate, or is it just the accumulation?
Yeah. The first ground has a kind of special quality or unique quality of a professional generosity. Second ground, not only that, professional generosity, and additional here, the morality is more kind of qualified and more unique than the first ground. So moral actions is kind of, every culture has the different. Some culture is moral, some culture is immoral. Right? So generally, kind of, if your moral is not kind of, intended to preventing negative emotions and not intend to restrain any harmful to the others, just kind of people consider it moral, and that kind of the kind of supported or backed up by just simply a culture. Yeah, and I think in American, when you shake hand, you have to hold wrist tight. So this kind of actions is something they consider is the, how is that? If your hand is too loose, that it's a sign of you're weak, you're not confident. If you kind of hold it too tight, so there's the aggressions. Now you have to find the balance. Yes, it is tight, but not too tight, not too loose. So that's also kind of culturally, it's kind of, this the moral way. You cannot be too loose, right? So this is not really backed up by any kind of inner qualities. It's just, this is how kind of be adapted, right, in the society and the cultures. In India, it's very strange. Now everybody's, when you show this is good, right? In old time 1960s, this is very bad. Now in India, this means good. So the culture has changed. The society is the way of their thinking has changed. So in old time, when you do this, this is very, very bad. So the kind of, society, they change their way of thinking. Right? So those are kind of, you can consider as moral, but it's not really, morality or the discipline from the precept. And morality is to restrain negative emotional. It's not about that. Just to feel good. This is how it's acceptable and not acceptable. Yes. Any other questions?
Basically, practicing morality is same thing as practicing bodhicitta and wisdom.
Yeah. So there is no kind of separate way of perfecting the moralities. So it's just, as Buddhists, the subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of Buddha. So it's just practice the compassion and wisdom realizing emptiness. That is the perfecting the morality and the generosity and the patience, concentrations. Is there any etymology in English about the moralities?
I wish I knew. I mean, there has to be, but I don't know the breakdown, like the first half and then the other half.
I think the tsul tim is the Tibetan tsul. Tsul is the behave, the way of doing. Tim is the discipline. So you have behave that is kind of from the discipline.
I think English is similar, like proper discipline.
Proper discipline, yeah. So proper disciplines. So now the proper discipline is just because society is accepted as a proper discipline, or it is this proper discipline because it helps you to reduce afflictive emotions. It helps you to prevent harmful to the others. Right? Then the discipline that can prevent harmful to the others, prevent your own negative emotions, right? And now, what motivates you to practice that, right? So then, many of the devotees, the Shiva and the Vishnu, they may say, "Oh, I want to see the God, Bhagavan." So, in order to see the Bhagavan, to please him by following these moralities. So, their intentions to be able to have a vision of the Bhagavan. Right? So then the Hinayana practitioners to be able to attain the liberations, right? For the Bodhisattvas to become the Buddha, the great enlightenment, right? And then each there is some kind of the motivations, what motivate them to follow these moralities. So the stainless, the second ground is because of their perfected or purified their state of mind and accumulate the accumulation of merits. So not only this person has no immoral even in a dream, and physically when you see with your eye, when you see that person, and his physical body is very kind of magnificent and stand up from the. So that's the kind of, this is the sign of they have perfected the morality, right? So if there's 100 people, this person is very kind of, what do you call, stand out from the people. So that's what physically shine, right? Yeah. Any other you want to discuss? Second ground is not. There's not much in the one page. Only 10 stanzas, right? Any questions? Oh, ethic and morals. Yeah, ethic and morals. Ethic is
In English, that's pretty much.
same, right? Ethics.
Like doctors have a code of ethics. Like they have to treat every patient regardless of whatever.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So
yeah.
it's sometimes in English it's a lot more hard line about regardless of whatever. So
Ethics. Shila. Yeah, I finished. Sanju Simjo Rinpoche, Maje Banga, Jeji, Jeba Nyamba, Mewanya, Kone Koto Pebbles, Konye Tawa Rinpoche, Maje Banga, Jeji, Jeba Nyamba, Mewanya, Kone Koto Pebbles, Pama Simjenda, Dada Dinji, Yendo Tamche Tado Tonga, Chanju Simba, Kanda Sushibe, Teda Kunji, Monum Juji, Karera Reko, Shimazo, Kanda, the Wama Lujo, Jenesima, Tinzin Jazo Yishabe, Sede Badu, Denjuji.
May the precious body mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forever. May the precious mind realizing emptiness not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all other mother sentient beings have all the happiness, and may all the lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are Bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounding us and mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. Most powerful Chandrakirti, remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you very much.